Hello, and welcome to our video tutorial on timecard entry. Today we will be going over some scenarios that will help you enter your time successfully each week. From any page in Salesforce, there will be a section in the left margin called Time Entry. Within this section, there is also a link called Time Entry. To start your timecard, you will click this link. This is what your time entry screen will look like in Salesforce. On the top right, in the resource box, your name will automatically default. On the top left, the week ending date will default to the current week that we are in. Below that, you will see several rows for project/assignment, which we will discuss shortly. To the right of that is the milestone column, which we will also discuss. If you keep going to the right, you will see a column for each day of the current week. There is also a notes section beyond this, should you need to create a message to your manager who will be approving your time card. To begin, you will click on the first spyglass in the first row next to Project/Assignment. Clicking on this spyglass will open a list of hyperlinks representing your current assignments. Not everyone will have more than one assignment, but if you do, they will all be listed here. Along with your client assignments, below that, under Global Projects, all employees will have options for holiday and PTO. If you hover your cursor over a client assignment, the full name of the assignment will populate in this black box so you can see it in its entirety. When you locate the client project on which you are looking to book time, click on the hyperlink for this project. Once you have clicked on your client assignment and it populates under Project/Assignment, we will now need to fill in the milestone. A milestone is a way to drill down further within a client assignment to determine more specifically on what you spent your time each day. You can either tab over to that column, or you can simply click on the column with your mouse. A drop-down arrow will appear and you will pull down this menu at this point. Once you have pulled down this menu, you will see several options for your milestone. Not everyone and not every client assignment will have the same options. Let's say, for example, I worked on outpatient charts for this day, so I will click on Chart Review Outpatient at this time. When your milestone populates, you can again either tab over to the day of the week on which you are looking to record time, or you can simply click on the day with your mouse. For this example, I am looking to record time on Monday. From here, you will type in the number of hours you worked on this day in this particular milestone. You must record time in quarter-hour intervals. Once you have keyed your hours, you'll be asked to break down how many charts you completed and how many charts you started but did not complete for any reason. To get to this as shown on your screen, you can either double-click in the cell where you keyed your time, or you can press the down arrow on your keyboard while your cursor is still in the cell. The first field is for the number of charts you completed on this day. The second field is for charts that you started but did not complete. If this second number is 0, you can either key a 0 or leave it blank altogether. Now that you've keyed these hours, let's move on to another entry. If you happen to work either for another client or another skill set or milestone for the same client, you'll go back and click the spyglass on the second row next to Project/Assignment. From here, you'll again click the hyperlink of the client for which you need to record your time. At this point, you will again tab over to the milestone column or click on it with your mouse, pulling down the menu to choose the correct milestone for this time worked. Let's say, for example, I also did some work with inpatient charts. I would click on the Chart Review Inpatient milestone to record this time. After choosing your milestone, you'll tab over or click on the correct day on which you're looking to record time worked. In this example, I'm adding time worked on the same day. Because this time was spent working on a different milestone than the time we already recorded, we needed to create a second line to properly record this time. After keying that I worked 2 hours, I would either double-click or press the down arrow on my keyboard to show the charts fields. For this example, I completed 3 charts and did not leave any incomplete. Now that I have completed keying my time for Monday, I will save my time card. We strongly urge you to update and save your time card every day so you're not scrambling on Friday evening to try to remember what you spent your time on earlier in the week. You can save your time card after each entry and still come back to edit it later as long as you do not click the Submit button. Always save your time card after each entry, but do not submit until your weekly hours are complete. After saving your time card, you will see a message on the top right that confirms your time card was saved. This will disappear after a few seconds. From here, I am now looking to key time for Tuesday. I'm going to assume for this example that I spent time on Tuesday working on the same project and milestone as the first row from Monday, so I will click on the box under Tuesday in the same row to add my time. Same as we have already done for our first two entries, after keying my 8 hours worked, I will double-click or press the down arrow on my keyboard to open the charts fields and fill them in appropriately. On Tuesday, I completed 16 charts and started 3 but did not complete them. After keying my Tuesday hours, let's say I know that on Wednesday I have the day off and will need to key my PTO hours. I will have to open a new row for this as it needs to be separate from any client work. I will click on the spyglass on that third row under the 2 client projects we've used so far. From there, I will click the PTO hours hyperlink down underneath the Global Projects heading. Both PTO and holiday hours do not require a milestone to be selected. You can tab straight over to Wednesday, bypassing the milestone column, or simply click on the Wednesday cell in the PTO row. I will key 8 hours for my PTO time. You do not need to key the number of charts completed or left incomplete for PTO, as this does not apply. From here, I will save my time card again. On Thursday, let's assume I worked for yet another client. This is not a usual situation, as most of our coders only work for one client at a time. However, just in case you are faced with such a situation, it would help to see it here. So instead of keying Thursday hours on one of our already existing rows, I will now click on the spyglass on a 4th row to locate the new client project on which I'm looking to record time worked. Same as our previous entries, this opens a pop-up window with my client projects listed, and I will click on the correct client project to report my Thursday working hours. From here, I can tab over to the Thursday cell in this row, or I can click on the cell with my mouse to key the hours. I will key 8 hours worked, then either double-click the cell or press the down arrow on my keyboard to open the fields to record my charts. Note that for this row, I purposely bypassed the milestone field just to show how Salesforce will react. Now that my Thursday hours and charts are keyed, I will now go to save my time card. Salesforce is giving me a hard warning and letting me know that my time card cannot be saved, and also lets me know to check a flagged cell for the reason why. You can see over to the right there is a red flag on the status column, so let's go there now and see what the message is. As expected, Salesforce is telling us that we must select a milestone in order to save this time card. So in case you forget to choose a milestone, Salesforce will not allow you to save your time card and also lets you know what is missing. After checking the flagged message, you will now go back and choose your milestone. For this one, we will assume that I worked on inpatient charts today, and we'll choose Chart Review Inpatient. As we do every day, I will now go back and save my time card again, now that my Thursday hours are keyed. For Friday's hours, I am again going to open a new client project, even though normally our coders do not work for multiple clients. Keep in mind, if you are simply adding hours to a client project that you already have on your time card from an earlier day in the week, you would simply double-click on Friday in the same row as that client project. Here I am going to click on the spyglass for a brand new row to find this new client project. As we've seen before, when clicking the spyglass, a list of my current projects will appear. I will click on the appropriate client to add my Friday hours. Now I will tab over to the milestone column to pull down that menu. On Friday, let's say I worked on inpatient charts, so I will choose Chart Review Inpatient. To add my Friday hours, I can either tab over to Friday or click on Friday in this new row. On Friday, I am logging 7 hours, and then I must either double-click again or press the down arrow on my keyboard again to open the charts fields. Let's say I completed 14 charts and did not leave any incomplete on this day. Instead of typing a 0 in the incomplete field, this time I am going to leave it blank. As I mentioned earlier, this field only requires an entry if it's more than 0. If you had no incomplete charts worked on a given day, you can either type 0 or leave it blank. From here, as we do every day after keying hours, I will now save my time card. And now that I have keyed all my time for this week, after reviewing to ensure that all my hours are accurate, I can submit the time card for my manager's approval. You'll simply need to click the Submit button at this point. This will bring up a notification and ask you to confirm that you want to submit your time card. This two-step process is to ensure that you are finished entering hours and won't need to make any changes, as you will not be able to make changes after submitting your time card. If you need to make any changes, click Cancel and make your changes now. If all looks good, click Continue to submit your time card. This concludes your time card entry process. You can see on the top right that Salesforce has given you a notification that your time card has been submitted for approval, so you know that you are finished and can leave this page.